Hey guys, welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. And if you're not, hit the button. And while you're at it, hit that like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into the real of reality TV. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into this. I'm going to share my screen. I'm not going to share the audio though, because Bravo is a trip when it comes to their shows. And I feel like I can share without sharing the audio just for you to see the facial expressions because watching this last episode and the one from last week really triggered me because and it's not about being a fan of Lateasha or hating Quad or anything like that, but Quad has a pattern when it comes to being on this show and how she has been successful even when I feel like she shouldn't have been successful in icing people out. And when I see what has been going on with Lateasha, especially from last week, I was going to talk about it, but I never got around to doing it. So I'm just going to kind of start from where we were last week and get back to where we are now. I saw it then, and I actually was a little bit, just a little bit, pleasantly pleased with Toya, but more so with Contessa on this week's episode because what I saw last week, I felt was disgusting because I felt like out of all of the women, especially Toya, being so about her husband and her marriage, she should understand where Lateasha was coming from when she said that, when it comes down to this group of ladies, and if it's going to be about a choice, I'm always going to choose my man because that's her husband. And if it were not for her husband, she would not even be engaging in conversations, let alone some type of friendships or relationships with these women because it was because of her husband being friends with the husbands of these women on the show that caused her to become a part of the group as well. Whether it was for nefarious purposes, hellishly using the chick to get her on the show for the purpose and sake of pissing Quad off and to have a storyline and to get some drama going for the show and get hopefully more viewers coming in and ratings higher. It is what it is. They used her to come on the show. While I'm not saying Lateasha is a victim because she did overall, and at the end of it all, made the decision to become a part of the show. She wasn't forced to do it. She didn't have to do it. All of that stuff, right? Of course, she didn't have to be on the show. But just like for all of them, it was an opportunity. So miss me with the, oh, she knew what she was getting into. She wanted to be on TV. She was a fan. So what? Every single person that's on the show, for the most part, the women. So I'm mainly speaking about the women. All of these women that are on this show, they have been on the show because they felt like it was a good opportunity or a great opportunity for them. So if they didn't feel like it was a good or a great opportunity for them, what makes people think that Lateasha wouldn't think the same thing? So it's hypocritical when I see comments and hear people say, "Oh, she knew what she was getting into. She wanted to be on TV. She was a fan." So what? There are a lot of people that see people on these reality shows and they see how once they get on these shows, not everybody, of course, but a lot of them, especially on Bravo, it seems like they get on these shows and they get opportunities to become more exposed, and some of them they become fan favorites, and you can shit in a bottle and sell it because that's how sheep like a lot of people are. That's just the way people are. I can't explain it. This is not a psychology session here. I'm just talking about it as I see it. So I don't care. I don't care, but that doesn't mean that it's okay for her to be iced out and for her to be mistreated. So I'm going to share my screen, guys. And again, I'm not going to play the audio, but I just want to show the facial expressions because I really was here for Contessa just calling it out. All right. So this is the scene when Contessa is confronting Heavenly and Quad just to let them know, like, look, Lateasha, she has her husband, she has a plus one, just like you have a plus one. And look at Heavenly's facial expression. Pissed off. Look, getting involved. It has nothing to do with her. Contessa was talking to Quad, right? And look at Quad's face, the facial expressions, the victimhood, right? If you recall from the second season, and she didn't want Mariah to be involved in any of the group trips and things like that. So it's like she became the ultimate victim to have these ladies ice Mariah out. Now, while people like Heavenly and a few others like Jackie and whatever, they were okay with icing Mariah out because they didn't like her. They didn't really care for Quad either, but it's that underdog syndrome. There are a lot of people that, even if they don't like the underdog and the top dog, and we'll just call who Mariah was at the time the top dog, they would prefer the underdog over the top dog. So they'll choose the underdog over the top dog, and they'll take sides with the underdog to elevate them. But don't elevate too much, because then we're going to have to pull you back down to size and let you know that we ain't really here for, how you've been acting. So that's what they did with Quad last season when they told her, we don't have a connection with you. We really feel like you should leave this trip, leave Napa, go back to Atlanta. And Quad made herself out to be a victim. If you remember when she did the sit down with Carlos King and she was talking about the trip, and even on this season, she was bringing up the Napa trip and talking about how they just left her for dead on the side of the road until she bled out. And Toya's like, "You bled out?" I really wish Toya just kept that same energy through and through. But again, I feel like Toya, out of all people, should have understood where Lateasha was coming from when she was like, "Well, if it comes to me making a choice, I'm always going to have to choose my man over you all." That's her husband. Like, what? Are you kidding me? And she doesn't really know all of these ladies like that. It's not like these were her friends before she got with Dr. G, and then Dr. G is putting her in awkward positions and situations and making her feel like she has to choose between her friends or her man. No, it's not like that at all. So while I may not have agreed with how Contessa was in the last episode that they showed, where it was just apologizing to Quad. Quad wasn't owed an apology. And see, this scene right here, they showed this clip from when they had the trip. And they made it seem like Dr. G or Greg, they made it seem like Dr. Gregory was being confrontational towards King, and King was just responding. No, we need the full context. So, Dr. G, he was actually, when he started out speaking to King, he pretty much said, like, look, I didn't mean you any disrespect, but the things that your girl was saying, she was being confrontational. She was trying to play on my relationship and my marriage, those different types of things like that. He was not lying, and he was basically speaking how he felt. And he was also just pretty much letting King know, I don't have a problem with you, but I do have a problem with how Quad was behaving and the number of things that she was saying last night at the couple's game night. That's what he was letting King know. And then King had the audacity to act like, and I did a previous Real or Reality TV where I talked about the fact that King is a liar and a stunt queen, because he was ready to go, right? But he was putting on a show for his girl. She was having pillow talk with him that night before and the next morning, and pretty much letting him know, look, I'm gonna need you to go and say something to this dude because I don't really like the way he was making me feel. When if he was really about that life and he really wanted that smoke, and I showed you all, King was looking at Dr. G the entire time that night, and he saw that Dr. G and Quad were having a conversation. I don't buy that he didn't hear Dr. G say, you talk too effing much, or you have a big effing out, whatever the words were. I don't buy that he did not hear Dr. G say that. He's looking at him the whole time. The whole time. And no, I know Quad has a big mouth, just like Dr. G said. She does have a big mouth. And maybe she was really loud in his ear, so he didn't really hear those words. But did he ask Dr. G, look, what did you say to my girl? Did he ask Dr. G to say, look, don't, if you have something to say, just say it to me. Don't even speak to Quad. He didn't say anything to Dr. G that night. Nothing. So I don't buy it that he's getting ready to square up on Dr. G the next day because of what Dr. G said to him. It's bullcrap. So anyway, the dude King and all these these ninjas, I was about to use a word, taking up for King. It was like, why are they doing this? And this ninja right here, with his big belly looking like he's losing weight everywhere else, but there, I know King. And he was just trying to protect his lead. When did you meet King? Because from that, what was it, the second episode when Quad had that birthday party? When she introduced her new man to the group, was it his wife, one of the main people that said like she didn't know anything about this man? So all of a sudden he knows King, right? He was still taking sides because he got pissed that Dr. G confronted him about it. And he still did not apologize and say, you know what, look, my wife was wrong. She never should have said what she said, disparaging his character and trying to throw salt on his career, his profession, his title. He said to Dr. G, look, man, why are you so sensitive? But yet he doesn't like when someone's insinuating that he was cheating on Heavenly, right? The hypocrisy is unreal when it comes to this group. And it just really makes me dislike so many of them even more than, I really didn't care for Quad or Heavenly or Dr. Jackie. I have a new level of disrespect for Dr. Simone. Toya, I just was like, really, girl? But even on this episode, when Toya was talking to her husband, he said a few things this time, at least, that were sensible that I agree with. When he was like, you know what? I kind of understand where Dr. G is coming from because he's been made to feel like he's been iced out because we're supposed to be his friends and it looks like we're taking up for Quad and her new man. And that is exactly what it looks like. It doesn't make any sense to me or most people that have sense, you know? So when I saw this episode and I saw Contessa talking to Quad and just letting her know, like, look, she doesn't deserve to be treated the way that she's being treated. And Quad is just on the defensive and she's still again making everything about her. Well, you all chose to bring my ex-husband and his new woman around me. Girl, you don't have to be on this show. You really don't. It really is a choice. And for people to say, well, this was her spot and he chose to come back. If it wasn't for him, she wouldn't have been on the show in the first place. And I still don't believe that he came on the show to try to get under her skin. I believe he came on the show because it's something that his wife wanted to do and she had the opportunity to do it. And also, he thought that he and the guys were actually friends. And so that's why he did it. And also, last season, look at her face. I'm ready to go. Look at her face. She was the one that asked to give Dr. G a hug, went up to Sweet Tea, asked if she could give him a hug, went to Lateasha's bridal shower, bachelorette party, whatever the title of the crap was called, went to it to be devious, right? Who's going to go to the bachelorette party of a woman that's going to be getting married to their abusive ex-husband? Seriously, right? I mean, I'm being honest. When does a woman in their right mind do something like that? So look at her face, all balled up, pissed off that Contessa is actually speaking facts and wisdom. And like this person said in the comments right here, I'm looking over at it. This is the same thing Quad did to Mariah. She made them make a choice and she played the victim so that it would be her. And that's exactly what she did. And that's exactly why I wanted to talk about this and bring this to the forefront, because this is what this chick does. She always makes herself out to be the victim, this innocent little, woman who sees no evil, hears no evil, speaks no evil. But yet I still believe that she was the one that set up look at her face, set up that situation when she had her puppy couture pop-up shop, and that guy came talking about Lisa N- Darren Noggles, Lisa Noggles' husband, to say that he's been sleeping with her husband. I still believe she's the one that set that up. Still believe it. Look at her face. And look at this one, mad. The mad dog. A- And she consistently makes herself out to be the victim every single time. I just can't stand it. I This show has become unbearable for me. I mean, I still deal with it after the fact. I'm not like, "Oh, what's coming on tonight? I got to watch it tonight." But look at this comment. Quad is only bringing King around because Sweet Tea is around. Quad never wanted to share who she's dating until Greg and T came, and I agree with that. And that's why a lot of people don't even really believe that she, one, is either in a real relationship, or two, if she is, that it was going on for as long as she's trying to say that it was. I don't get that. I don't agree with it. I don't believe it. And she is the one that all of the other women, for the most part, used to say that when wrapping up for the filming happens, she is gone. Peace out. Chucking deuces, and she sped off in whatever expensive vehicle that she, has at the time. So I just really am not here for her in these shenanigans. And I'm all for people forgiving if they choose to and moving forward and not holding grudges and holding on to the past. But this is the same chick who was insinuating that Toya had something to do with Anila's house being broken into. Do we remember that? So, yeah, I wouldn't want to. I would not, if it came down to having a choice being had. I definitely would not be the one to be choosing Quad. Just me. And then this scene when it's all set up. She's got her man, her man, her man, and all this other stuff. This chick is just full of ego. She's talking about her home, and he didn't say anything wrong. Actually, he was like, I don't see myself moving into your home. Maybe we could buy something together. He didn't tell her she needed to get rid of what she had. He said you could rent it out. She's responding to a man to say, "Why can't you just let your ego go?" If anybody should be letting go of an ego, it should be this heifer right here. But that's impossible for her to do because she never sees herself as being the one to be in the wrong in any way. So of course, she's going to say to the man, "Why can't you just let go of your ego?" When he's basically saying, "You actually really do hang on to those gender roles. You want me to take out the trash. You want me to do the things that are considered manly, but yet you expect me as a man to move into your home because this is the first home that you ever bought by yourself." I definitely am not doing that. And I'm not saying you need to get rid of your home, but you can rent it out. She does not listen to anyone else. All she does is stay stuck on what she wants and what she believes. And he was not telling her anything that was, I feel, disrespectful. Actually, even though I don't really believe the relationship is genuine, I'm not saying that they're completely faking it. I don't know that to be the case, but I'm just saying I don't believe it's as genuine as they're trying to make it out for the cameras. I don't see anything wrong in what he said, where he pretty much said, "Look, um, yeah, if we're going to move in together, let's get something that we both choose together, and you can rent your place out." He didn't say get rid of it. He didn't say sell it, let's get the cash and then try to buy something together. That's not what he said at all. But because her ears are always blocked to what other people are saying and she only cares about what she thinks, of course she wasn't even really listening to that. But y'all, I can't with her. Somebody said King is the only one that recognizes that Quad is full of shit and not over Gregory. Now, I'm not going to say she's not over Gregory in terms of the relationship part because I don't believe she was ever into Gregory. You got to be into someone to get to a place where you're over them. But I do believe that she harbors resentment because of whatever. I don't know. But I really don't believe that she was ever really into Gregory. Seriously. And so, with all of that being said, Quad, I just can't with her. She wants to be the victim. She wants people to choose. And that last episode from last week where they're all gathering around her at her house, mind you. I guess maybe that was a requirement because of whatever, event it was at her house. So to not get kicked out, they had to all act like they were all on her side. And speaking of being on sides, wasn't the new doctor, Dr. Mimi, and her husband, they were introduced in by way of Lateasha and Dr. G? I thought they were friends of hers. So why was it that she was at Quad's party and Lateasha wasn't? Not saying Lateasha should have been there, but that to me also looked a bit shady. Shady on her part because she went. Yeah, she was invited, but she went. And it's like, isn't Lateasha supposed to be your friend? And you clearly know how Quad feels about her. So why would you show up? The invitation already should have been something shady to you. So you shouldn't have even been there. So I thought that looked weird. And two, for her to even meaning Quad, for her to even invite someone that she's only seen a couple of times, maybe a few more times than a couple, but yet and still, you are quite aware that this couple was introduced to be friends of by way of Letitia and Dr. G. So that all of that just looked strange to me. I don't know how you all felt about it, but I really didn't like the way that that looked. That just really looked weird to me. So I want to know what you guys think. But Quad, the attempts and getting other people on the bandwagon to ice out Letitia. Of course, she doesn't really need to do much to get Heavenly on that bandwagon because Heavenly already didn't see it for her since last season when she chose to not just be a doormat and allow hellishly to say whatever she wanted to say to her. So for me, what Letitia said to her this season, you razorback big back bitch. That will go down in the history books for me. I love it. I love it. Heavenly deserved every bit of that read, and she is. She is a razorback big back. I'm sorry. I needed that laugh, guys. It's been a hard week and weekend, so honestly, I needed the laugh. But this really did annoy me seeing how they were trying to ice her out in quad, being the ringleader of it all, but also not trying to look like the ringleader, but just trying to make it as she does. Now, I'm not even saying she does it well. I just believe for whatever reasons, because sometimes the people that she is going up against, they may not be favorites of others. So it may seem a bit more, uh, it's not as difficult to do. But if you really have your thinking cap on and you really are looking with wisdom, you could see right through Quad. You could see right through her, even though she ain't clear. You should be able to see right through her. She uses that victimhood to try to get people on her side all of the time in an attempt to ice people out. And I just don't like it. I really don't see that Dr. G and Letitia should come back to this show. One, like even like I said before, it being a new relationship, I just don't feel that it's a smart thing to do to start it out being on a relationship in a new relationship because relationships are already hard enough. Relationships should not be hard, but life is hard. We go through things that are hard in life. And then when you deal with it on camera, and then you have antagonizers around you and people that are wishing for your downfall, like hellishly and Quad, then it could make it even more difficult. So I don't believe that it was a smart decision for her to come on this show so early in her relationship and getting married on the show and whatever. I am not going to speak anything negative over their relationship, but I just don't feel that it was a smart decision to make. But I do believe that Dr. G did it for his new wife. It was something that she got the opportunity to do and she wanted to do it, and he did it along with her. And also at the time he felt like, I got a friend in these dudes, so just like we did before, it'll be straight, we'll do it again. The men really didn't get involved in the women's drama and BS and all of that, type of stuff like that, so I should be straight. And then now you've got you got a queen running across the beach ripping his shirt off because he's trying to make a scene for his new girlfriend that Dr. G used to be married to. It's awkward. So I don't think that they should come back, honestly. But I also don't believe that Heavenly or Quad should come back either. I don't believe they deserve to be on television, and let them do what they do on social media. But to be gassing their head up and making them feel like they deserve to be on TV is nonsense. It really is. But I was here for Dr. Contessa and how she let Quad know, like, look, Lateasha, she's got her man just like you've got your man. I don't think, it was cool to ice you out, just like I don't think it's cool to ice Lateasha out. Quad couldn't even agree with that. It always has to be about her. She can't see things from the other person's side or the other person's perspective, and that's just not cool. So, anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So, until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.